So we've been here a few months now. We moved in April, it's now December. There's been lots of little changes from the initial build out. So I'm mostly gonna cover the changes. I'll leave a link below in the comments for the build out itself so you can watch that entire video and see everything we did to kind of turn this place into from raw and empty to built up store and some little things. But I figured I'd give a quick tour and take a look around. There's, some products on the shelf and the usual retail stuff. We also keep several other things up there, not just the products on the shelf, but the other store stock items like our Unifies and commercial equipment. You know, we actually keep it up front, even though it's not something people really walk in and buy. It's just an easy way to keep it organized. Then behind you, behind there, we have some of our fun stuff that we did, some art projects that we like. You know, just make sure the place has the right amount of geek appeal, including like our business card holder, old motherboard. We include these. Now normally there's pens in here, but the pens are gone. People took all of our pens. We just have the business card holder here and where the pens belong. You gotta get some more in order. Closer look at our motherboard art and some of our CPU collection art. We just found a bunch of the old CPUs and threw them all up here. And then on the other side, whoa, just all the retail cables and things that we have up there. Our laptop box has actually been empty. We haven't really found that laptops have been selling that well, or computers in general to retail. The retail's just been going down a lot, which is something we're kind of fine with. We're mostly focused on businesses. We do retail, but with computers being so cheap, people have been buying them, at all these Black Friday sales and things like that. So we haven't really put much effort in putting a lot of laptops in there. This is our shop and tech area. This area is still where we do a lot of business. There's not too much on here right now, just a couple computers in for repair that we see over here in the background. And this is kind of our cool wheelie around and island that we built to facilitate all the tech work. Now let's take a little bit closer look at how that's set up. So Kyle's chilling out over there, but these are all designated work areas, including all along here where we have a KVM, one monitor that articulates so we can face it different ways. Bring you down here with me. So we have all the machines can be hooked up all along here. And this goes all the way around. There's 8 stations that can be connected. Then all the network ports along the wall over here and here. And that allows us to easily plug in and network all the computers. And then all the networking we have in the back, where our main server is the very back. We'll get there. And then up front, we have this with the cool lights in it. And as you've seen maybe at the beginning, there's lighting underneath all of the desks in here. So we have this, couple 24 port switches up here. I have a whole nother virtual lab network video if you want to know how some of this connected. And yes, you may have noticed there's some LED lights in there. We also had some LED lights to the front of the store, and these knobs give us control over the color. Now, because they're on the outside of the store and they're on the inside, you may have noticed that the color is changing up here. When we change the color on this knobs, it changes the color lights, and this is how we see what color they are because we put a couple lights in here to match the colors that go around the store. So when the computers are all down here, and this is sitting at the desk, normally they'd be sitting where you're seeing the camera. We have mounted underneath here all of the wiring, and then the wires, we have these little short wires like this, because when you reach across, you can just reach over, grab a wire, plug in. Mostly because most of the service in retail is now laptops. Most of that's what this is used for. There's also a series of network jacks underneath here, so that makes it easy to plug in a network jack, plug that in, plug the power in for the laptop, and be able to line up a lot of computers at once. And then when we're done, behind there, and I'm not going to zoom in too close, it's got all the customer data on the sheets. That's our outgoing shelf for when all of the systems are done, or when we're waiting on parts to be ordered, we put it all together and just set them all over here. Now, in my video I did about data recovery, this is our little dedicated data recovery station, transfer station, or up here is where we actually shred out all the old hard drives. So this is where you drop them in, get rid of all the data on them for reuse, or down here to transfer, just docking station, basic computer. And this is where the wonderful printer is. We're big Ikea fans, and these are all Ikea boxes up here. We have nice labels and put everything away. So one is miscellaneous crap, but the rest of them are like, USB cables, miscellaneous cards, a couple extra routers and switches. Now we've talked about, it probably looks worse on camera, but it is darker because we don't have lights on this side versus this side goes all the way back. So it does get a little bit darker over on here, but it's really not that big of a deal. The camera may make it look worse than it is, but we actually work mostly with the lights out. Whenever there's no customer stuff, we like working with the lights out over here. My office is mostly the same from when I did the video for my office. Not much has really changed in here. A couple more knickknacks up here. I have all the lights behind my monitors because I generally kind of the same thing. I like to work with the lights off in here and let the camera adjust. I do have probably more knickknacks behind me, so the webcam is here, so when I record a lot of my videos, this is the background, but this is actually what's up above is miscellaneous things like my really old hard drive. It says Cumulus on it. You know, they were cloud thinking this is like 30-year-old hard drive here. I just have like miscellaneous things like my Einstein poster and I don't know, this, that, and the other. This is kind of Shoot for the Stars. It's my daughter's. She made that for me. I like it. It's thinking about space. Alright, so there's my office. We'll come down the hallway a little further. We have Pac-Man on the hallway. The Mac side cover with a Band-Aid on it. Recently installed coat hangers. Didn't have those before. We just didn't know where to put our coats. We finally started putting coat hangers everywhere. This little area we kind of call Cube Land because there's a couple of cubicles over here where Corey and Kyle sit and Marvin sits back here. They got these cool little glass dividers over here. We had a client give us all these. We have a client that does cubicles, so they gave us a bunch of cubicles. And they're really nice, and we have nice lights and everything under them. So see all the lighting on there, and it looks pretty cool when you turn the lights out. We make Marvin do all the paperwork, so he's got 2 printers over by his desk, and then trinkets and things. He's got Skeletor holding up his business cards. But we threw all the paperwork at Marvin, so it's actually pretty clean, but we pile papers on here, so when he gets back, he's got something to do all the time. All right, now we'll go further back and we'll head to Steve's office. Bright monitors, Christmas lights. I'm gonna turn the lights on for a second. This is the red room. It works with the amount of rage Steve likes to feel every day of his life. But he's got a couch where he can chill out, work on projects, lots of little trinkets. Steve works on larger physical projects, so he has a much bigger office than me. But this is where he hides most of the time and answers the phones and does all the support stuff, puts the headphones on and locks his doors. Now we're in the very back, which is where the server is. Now this is normally kept locked, but I have it unlocked. We'll jump in there in a second. But give you a quick spin around this room here. About 10,000 feet of cable over here. This is part of it. We have other spots we keep more of it, but we keep a decent amount of it here in the store. Then this is like the furniture room, the bathroom. We have 2 bathrooms. That's the one where it's awful looking because that one's not been remodeled. We remodeled the one that the customers see. It's nothing wrong with it. It's not dirty. It's just dank. I don't know. It's old. Hasn't been remodeled and won't get remodeled. But we keep a lot of things in stock. Patch panels. We actually keep, there's a few stack of used switches over here. It's handy when customers, the switch dies right away. It's sometimes a temporary one that we'll put in to keep things up and running for them. Now the server itself, got all the cool LED lights in it. And now the only problem is it's hitting the door, so I'm going to have to kind of maneuver around here. When the server door's open, we got to kind of put it behind this. Oops, hit this with the door. We got to put it behind this door. Close that door. Swing that one open. Then we can go over here. And you can see inside the whole server. Ooh, ah. I have some videos where I cover in detail what all these servers are. I'll leave a link in there. It's kind of our virtualization tour and what's in our rack tour. Most of that hasn't really changed much. Well, I just did the virtualization tour Sunday, so this is exactly the same. Nothing has changed at all since then. But this is what runs everything. We keep it locked, and we also like a lot of stickers. You know, anytime I find cool logos for different things when I go and travel, we put some of them on here. I've got some over there, lots of them in the front. Here's the whole front of the case. I'm a sucker for any type of Linux or free software foundation logos, so pretty much top to bottom we've got lots of stickers and logos and everything on here. It just, I don't know, I like to, it feels better. I mean, making it look plain and boring would really bother me. Rick and Morty on here, way better. And even a Penguin Con logo. or mascot from one of the PenguinCon events here. PenguinCon.org if you want to know what that is. Now around the back of the server, more stickers over here, but I figured I'd show you in case anyone's wondering. It's a little cramped back here. The back of the cage is kept locked, but we actually put this on and I call it an umbilical cord. Now, I left the cable with a service loop. This is our Comcast cable that comes in. It does not go in the umbilical cord, but this is split tubing and it's just to keep it looking neat. So these are all the wires from the shop that feed the server. Now the reason there's so much slack here, the server's on wheels, so I can just move the whole thing. And I can just give it a push. It allows us to easily move around things, clean under it, or whatever we gotta do. And this is the power cord for the server. So it's on its own dedicated circuit with a twist lock, which means I can pull on this and it's not coming out, but it's on its own dedicated right here circuit, and that goes right into a UPS and filter system, so it's completely, you know, isolated. If I pull this, it doesn't blip, doesn't affect the servers. We got some decent amount of runtime on it, so it works well. Now, it may seem childish, but it's humorous to us. The plumbing is exposed in the bathroom, and so is the electrical back there. It's a pretty sizable, it's full ADA size bathroom, but this plumbing, we painted it green, and you kind of may have noticed a theme here. The whole bathroom is Super Mario themed. Like here, this is actually the electrical box. And yeah, some people like it's childish, but I don't care. It's funny to me that it's like this. So that brings us into the kitchen / studio area. Some shelves up there where we keep boxes and stuff like that. Kitchen sink. Cooking spot over here. Toaster oven, that's all we really need besides the microwave oven we have right over here. Keurig, George Foreman grill, rice cooker. We like rice. Kind of goes good with all the hot sauce we eat. So you can kind of see it's a pretty big studio right here. I don't remember the exact dimensions, but it's a pretty decent size. We have this Ikea lamp here because there's 550 watts used, and these are LED. It's still 550 watts for all the lighting in here. And it's hard to tell from the video, but when you go from this room to the other room, it's more than twice the lumens because we used ultra bright lighting, but that makes it really easy to film things in here. Now, let me get closer to the studio area. This is the boom for the microphone. Because of product shots, which we have some products right here, we will make sure, let me get the camera straight. We make sure that we have all the product shots nice and clean, so we light them up a little bit brighter with this another LED light here. I don't think we have this shelf up here, which just has some miscellaneous things. Some of my old 2600 magazines are on there, and of course you may have noticed the sound changed a little bit in here because the sound deadening, and we have a Zumba Studio next door. Camera's crooked. All right. We have a Zumba Studio next door, and that is bleeding through maybe a little bit when you're over there. They turn the music up. We only have to deal with it about an hour or two each night. Not bad, but a little bit of the noise will bleed through a little bit. But once you get to the studio over here, because if you're looking through there, that's the tech area where we started. Once I close that door, the sound deadening here means we can record and don't really have to worry about anything. There's another business, because we're in a strip mall on the other side here, but I think they have a row of filing cabinets. We don't hear anything from them. They're really quiet. And if you've watched any of the other videos, you probably already know what's in here. The wall of condiments and sauce. Now, someone has commented for it, and they are completely right, and I'll fess up to it. I tried a little bit healthier. They don't. There's mostly our people here are consuming just mass quantities of chicken nuggets because the chicken nugget thing, like, is real. They have a thing for chicken nuggets, and my wife is like, don't they ever get tired of eating like 4 boxes of these a day? And their answer is no, because they just use a different sauce each day. So that's the theory on it, is that we do that. But we try to eat actually a lot here. We got this cool kitchen table we sit at, but we try to eat a lot here. It's part of the culture here and part of how it's bringing us together. We talk about things, and if you've ever had to deal with support and doing IT, you know how agitating it can be sometimes because no one calls you because they're happy. Well, some people do, but most of the calls are like, this ain't working, I need it fixed immediately. I don't care what you're doing right now, my problem is a priority. So you kind of have to run through and deal with that, and sometimes that's another video I may make a little bit of a rant about, because it's not that they don't understand technology, it's sometimes just the behaviors that they have outside of that can drive you a little nuts. And if you've watched any of my vlogs, you've probably seen us rant a little bit about that from time to time. We did a couple posters, I'll show you real quick. Can you guess what channel that is? We actually got stickers everywhere for it, and we got more stickers. If you were watching in a video, you may have noticed that they've been decorated a little bit around the walls. Rick and Morty, huge fans. Love the cartoon. It's raunchy, it's awful, but I like it. It's funny. It's funny in a very wrong way. The walls are still a little empty. I'm being picky about what goes on the rest of them. We have some other artwork ideas. I may have my sister draw something. I don't know. That's all some of the future projects that we have. And hangers over here is where there's stands on there, and this is where all the photography equipment, when we turn this into a meeting room for clients, we have chairs that are kind of sitting over here, chairs over on the wall that are all hung up. We break these down so we have client meetings. So like I'm really picky about everything being like organized and clean in here. So it's not like I stopped and scrubbed the place down just for this video. Stop by any time, you'll see we're generally organized, or if you watch a video made, we don't stage anything. Keeping organized is part of being, it's part of keeping my sanity. That's definitely part of it. It's also part of being able to manage a business effectively. I don't know how anyone works in just pure chaos of stuff everywhere. I see a lot of computer shops like that, and maybe it works for them. Maybe they're really talented and just chaos is what works for them. It's not what works for me. Having everything organized really, really helps. So we focus on each project. I know each project organized, and things are following step. One last thing, one last thing. I will do soon what's in this cabinet. I'm not going to open it up because this cabinet is a little disorganized. Just a little, but it's still even disorganized for me, as a few things are not in the boxes they belong in. But I'll do a whole gear breakdown for everything I use to film and record, and tools and doodads I have besides what's on here. But that's all this, including our podcast equipment. So if you watch the how we do a podcast video, that is the table we do the podcast on, and each time we're done with it, everything gets broken down into certain containers and organized and all put back in here on a shelf, because it comes back to organization. And it's the other thing up here is the extra lights and things like that. We have a large soft box for that. So that's it for our shop tour. So if there's something more you want to see, is there something you want to see in detail, or you think I should do a video on, if this makes you dizzy, me panning around like this, let me know in the comments below, and I'll make a video about that. And that's it. Thanks for watching. If you like the content here, like and subscribe. Your comments and feedback are really helpful to help drive what I'm going to do next, because I don't always know. I have a lot of ideas. I have actually probably too many ideas, and I'll just keep creating content if you have nothing you comment on. But if you have comments, I will probably do them, because I like, making people happy and shaping what people want to know. All right, thanks again.